Hi, Silvie. So,
Hi.
thank you for coming today.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
So, how have you been?
I'm good. The weather's not been great though.
How long have you been in Japan?
It's been 5 years now.
Living in Japan has influenced your personality.
Yes,
Oh.
it has.
What kind of change did you have?
I think I'm more shy now because Japanese people are really shy.
Yeah.
So I don't feel the pressure to be really outgoing like I used to in America. There's a lot of pressure to be like really friendly and really outgoing, especially if you work with people like customer service jobs. You have to always be smiling, you have to always be in a good mood, and you have to do a lot of small talk. Even as a customer, if you go anywhere in America, you usually have to do small talk. So it's a very outgoing country.
Yeah. Some Americans don't want to do that.
I don't think everyone in America is outgoing, but I feel that we all have the pressure to have a good personality. It's a requirement for most jobs.
What do you like about Japan?
My favorite thing about Japan is probably the people. I really like Japanese women. In America, people don't really dress up. Like we usually wear the same clothes to everything, like t-shirt and jeans everywhere for any occasion, but Japanese women like put the effort to like look pretty, and like for every occasion they have a specific like outfit. Japanese men too, but I think there's a higher respect for like femininity in Japan, and I think we don't have that in America. I look up to the way Japanese women are, and I think there's like a stereotype about Japanese women that they are like submissive or they're not independent, kind of like from the Western perspective. I don't think that's true. I think that there's a lot of strength in femininity, and I think that they still value that in Japan.
Oh.
But we kind of look down on that in the West.
Like equality is important.
Yeah. Well, it's not just equality. It's just like being like a man to a lot of us in the West means equality. But equality doesn't mean to be like a man. It can be, we can be different and be equal.
What are big challenges for you to live in Japan as a foreigner?
Well, the cultural difference, I think, is the first step to integrate into society. Like, you need to understand that the culture is different. So I think that's probably hard for a lot of people. I think it was hard for me when I first came here. I didn't understand everything or like why people do certain things. And then language is difficult. I think even if you are really good at Japanese, you have to have like knowledge of the culture and nuisance of words, or like being able to read the room. Because a lot of Japanese is not straightforward, so you have to read between the lines when you communicate with Japanese people. And I think a lot of people have, especially I think in America, because we're really straightforward, we're told to be straightforward. We're always told, when I was little in school, they told me like never assume things. So I always felt like if you don't tell me directly, then I'm not going to assume something about you. So that was a little bit hard. I think also you need to understand that you're never going to be accepted as a Japanese, even if you live here your whole life, even if you have Japanese children or you get married to a Japanese person, you always be a foreigner. And I think it's hard for people to understand because we all want to have a community. We all want to belong to a group. So I think that's probably the hardest part for a lot of foreigners to accept when they choose to live here.
Do you have any tips for someone who wants to move to Japan?
Yeah. I think this is the most, like everyone always says this, but you should probably learn Japanese before you move here, or at least know some Japanese. Because this is a thing that most people struggle with, is to be able to speak Japanese. And it's really, really, really important. And also have a Japanese friend, because a lot of times you need to have a Japanese person with you when you want to like get an apartment or get like a bank card, like things like that. Even if your Japanese is good, it's really important to have like a Japanese representative with you, because a lot of the times there's communication problems. So you need someone to help you.
Do you learn Japanese still?
Yeah, I still study every day.
every day.
Yeah, there's a lot of online resources that are free. The Japan Foundation online has a lot of free courses you can take. So anyone can take it anywhere. And books. There's a lot of books here too. The library, there's a lot of ways you can learn. Or you just make friends with Japanese people who speak Japanese.
All right, Silvie. So thank you for your
Thank
time.
you.
And you are doing Instagram and YouTube,
Yes.
TikTok. So,
Everything.
Yeah, everything. Please follow her. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, Nick. So thank you for coming today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Nick. I'm American. I'm from California, but I've been in Japan since about 2007. So 16 years about, yeah, a long time.
So what do you do for a living?
I do a couple things. I do manzai, which is Japanese comedy. It's like Japanese stand-up comedy, but with two people. I do YouTube. I do some other shows for education. And yeah, and I have my own company.
Yeah, actually, I watched your videos a lot.
Oh, thank you, thank you.
Actually, I'm a big fan of you. And, what brought you to Japan?
So I always loved Japan. When I was 6 years old, I really liked Japanese gardens.
Gardens?
Yeah, gardens. You know Ryoanji? Ryoanji in Kyoto. Very famous. So I really liked gardens, and then I started liking anime and samurai movies, and then, you know, just life went on. I had a teacher in high school. She was Japanese. And I really, really loved her, and she got me more into like studying Japanese. And then in university, I made my major Japanese, and then I moved to Japan. So after college, you lose your visa, right? I heard that anybody can join a Owarai school. So I joined the Owarai school for the visa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just for the visa. That's how I got into it, and then I kept doing it. I got on TV a little bit, and yeah.
I think it's a very strict industry.
Very strict.
Yeah. So did you struggle with
Yes.
adapting to Japanese culture?
You can cut this out if you want, but the strictest industries in Japan are the mafia and comedy. They're almost the same. So, you know, in Japan they have kohai, who are the people below you, and then you have senpai, who are the people above you, and you have to do whatever they say. So if they say, come to my house at 3 a.m, you get up and you go to their house. You do whatever they say, you know.
So your senpais were strict or gentle to you?
So I was really lucky to have very good senpai. They, you know, sometimes they're strict, but it was usually to make me better. I had many famous senpai. I don't want to say their names, but when you're famous, you're usually a nice guy. The ones that are really strict are the ones that never got famous.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
So successful comedians have good personalities.
I think many successful comedians have good personalities. Some of them have bad ones, but most of them have good personalities, yeah.
And now you are already 16 years in Japan.
Yeah.
So you have kohais a lot.
I have many. That's why I can't quit, because it feels really good to have the power of being a senpai. So, you know, if they need food. So the thing about senpai is you have to pay for your kohai. So if they need dinner, I pay for their dinner. They don't have anything to do, they can come to my house and they can eat my food, or I'll pay for their dinner outside, you know. That's how it works.
So do you often meet with them? Like going out with kohais a lot?
Not too often, because, you know, since I'm not Japanese, some Japanese people, you know, they want to be more around Japanese people. But I learned that the Japanese comedians who are interested in, you know, America or abroad are usually the really smart ones who want to like learn more things and write new jokes that, you know. So I usually choose which kohai.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But all of my senpai were successful, and they were also interested in, you know, abroad.
Are there any differences between American and Japanese comedy or jokes?
Yeah, it's totally different. So I can't do comedy in English. I only know how to do it in Japanese. It's just totally different. Totally. It's like apples and oranges, we say. Apples and oranges, totally different animal.
I guess in Japanese comedy, they laugh at themselves.
Yes. So Japanese entertainment is very strict. So you can't make fun of other people really too much. It's easier to make fun of yourself. Whereas in like American stand-up comedy, they make fun of themselves sometimes, but a lot of people target politics or different, victims, I should say. Yeah.
What is the hardest thing for you to live in Japan as a foreigner?
The hardest thing is reading contracts. That's the only hard thing. I still can't read the Japanese sometimes on like housing. You know, when you want to rent a house, they don't say, there's like a special word like oh something, I don't know the name, but like really rigid Japanese is still very hard for me to understand.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
That's about it. Everything else, I've been here for 16 years and I'm not like the smartest guy or anything, but I really don't give up. So I just kept moving and going and going and going till I got used to everything. And now it's much easier for me to live here than it is to live in America. I don't know how to live in America.
You will stay here longer.
I'll probably stay here probably forever. I don't know. I mean, part of me is a little bit Japanese now, you know.
And what are your favorite things in Japan?
All right, let's say it. The food's really good. Japanese people have really good aesthetics. So they have really good designs for buildings or gardens or just ideas. It's really beautiful. Japanese people really care about presentation. In America, it's more about how easy it is to make the product. So let's make a lot of them. Let's pump it out and make a lot of money. Whereas Japan's more like, let's make it perfect. Let's wrap it perfect. I really appreciate that. Japan's very safe. You can walk around anywhere you want anytime. Where can you do that? You can't do that where I'm from in California. You get killed. So, and this is for women too. You know, women can walk around wherever they want. Kids, you see a 6-year-old kid taking the train to school by himself. You'd never see that in America.
Do you have some tips for someone who want to move to Japan?
Yeah, first thing to do is, while you're in your own country, maybe study a little bit of Japanese first. Try to figure out what type of language Japanese is. And then start watching really easy TV shows like Doraemon or, you know, some type of anime that you like or a children's show. And don't put your own country subtitles. Put on Japanese subtitles and watch at least for 1 hour every day. And learn the language first.
Thank you for your time, Nick.
Sure. Thank you so much.
You have Instagram account?
Yeah, I have Instagram. It's all in Japanese. So if you want to learn Japanese, you can look at my Instagram account or my,
Yeah, please follow him.
Please. Thank you so much.
See you next time. Bye.
All right, bye.
Did you struggle with adapting to Japanese culture?
No, I didn't. I like Japanese culture. For me, it was kind of like naturally. I don't know. People are so nice. Because I don't speak Japanese, I can't say like I understand people fully because I still don't know what they're talking about. But of course, I can understand like some basics. I don't think I'm struggling. I just more like try to understand the culture and adapt.
Yeah, I think you enjoy Japan.
Yeah, I enjoy Japan a lot.
Are there any tips for foreigners who want to move to Japan?
If you want to move to Japan and for living, you should learn Japanese. This is my first recommendation. And also you have like rent in, especially Tokyo, is pretty high. So yeah, you have to know about this. And I recommend you to try onsen. It's special in Japan. Yeah, I like this onsen culture a lot, actually. If just for traveling, I recommend to go to Kyoto. I just been there recently. And there's like so beautiful temple called Kiyomizu-dera. Yes, that's so beautiful. And another temple like with red, this how it's called? I forgot.
I will put the picture.
Okay, yeah. So I would definitely recommend to go to Kyoto. It's so different. And I've never been to Nara, but I heard that it's a beautiful place. Japanese cities are so different. Like Tokyo is like so hectic, so many people, so many buildings. Kyoto is more like maybe historically, like they don't allow people to rebuild so many buildings. So they have so many like historical places, which is so nice. In Nara, there are so many deers. Yeah, I heard about that, so I really want to go.
You can feed.
Yeah, you can feed. Oh, nice. So yeah, so many mountains here, like beautiful places around mountains, beaches. So I definitely recommend to come here for at least like 1 week if you're traveling. And just, travel around Japan, see so many places. Because my friend, he came for like 3 days. Yeah, like me and my boyfriend's friend. And it was not enough. They couldn't see anything. So 3 days is like not enough at all. to see Japan.
Do you have some dangerous experience, or do you feel safe always?
I think Japan is the only place where I feel fully safe. And like my friend, she lost wallet and it was returned to the police station with like all the money and credit cards, which is impressive. And the makeup artist told me that she lost her wallet 3 times or 4 times, and somebody returned to the police with all the money, and like it's completely safe. Like I don't want to say like, you know, maybe I just didn't have experience. Maybe some people like had some bad experience, but as for me, Japan is like 100% safe country. Yeah.
Oh, great. And you can walk around the city at night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
Thank you for your time, Karyna.
Thank you.
Yeah, so please follow her Instagram and TikTok.
Yeah, please, I will be so happy to see you. Bye. Mata ne.
Thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Could you introduce yourself?
Hi everybody, my name is Yllah. I live in Japan. I came here in 2017. I'm from the Democratic Republic of Congo. And yeah, I studied and work in Japan.
Are there any challenges to live in Japan?
Ooh, there are a lot of challenges for me living in Japan. Number one, it's like the first country where I got to become an adult. I got to live my life, to become independent, have my own apartment, like have my own thing going on. This is like the place where I would say I called myself an adult. And I had a lot of challenges that were internal, personal, for like adaptation, but also external. So there are many things. I had trouble adapting in social life because where I'm coming from in Kinshasa, in Congo, we are very warm people. We're very social, we're very loud, we're very touchy, we're very like on each other's face, kind of. And when I came to Japan, I got challenged by that because people here are, like everybody mind their own business. People are in their corner, they do their own thing. And I was even having trouble eating because back home we eat together with family members. So in Japan, because the social life is completely different, I found myself in a difficult place as of even eating, as of like talking to people. So that brought my kind of, I would say, mood down. Like I got really sad and depressed like the first 2 years. And again, it's like very normal curve of like the culture shock. So I went very, very, very down. And the worst part is that I came in winter. So everybody is really in their own corner. It was very challenging to me. So that's one thing. In social life, people are much colder. People are much more like loners. They're in their circle. It's harder to like break through like other people's circles in Japan. The other challenge that I faced was, of course, the language barrier, because I speak like 4 languages, but Japan itself was never on my list. So coming here was like, you have to forget about French, forget about English, you have to restart from scratch and just learn Japanese. So the fact that I had to learn a new language in my adult life, something that I really didn't think of, like in my to-do list, in my objectives of life, I didn't put like learning a new language as something to do, again, in like my 20s. So it was very, very difficult for me to like put in my head that you have to learn language number 6, you know, and it's not like a hobby or a passion for me. So that was challenging. And the language itself is one of the hardest languages to learn in the world. So it's harder when you cannot socialize, learn a language that's hard, and you don't have like the chance to practice it with people. So yeah, the social life and the language was also a big problem for me. Food was completely different from what I know. I wasn't really familiar with Eastern Asian food in general. I wasn't really a fan of it. Like waking up and say, today I'm gonna eat sushi. Like I'm not like a very adventurous type of person when it comes to food. So the fact that Japan has completely different type of food compared to like, I would say the entire African continent was very challenging for me. I couldn't know what is this taste, what should I make of it? Is this like the entire meal? Are we just gonna eat noodles and that's it? That's like the meal for the entire day. It was complicated for me. Other stuff, yeah, spices. I was having a hard time finding spices and stuff when I go to supermarket. I don't know which spices this is. I have to translate it. Sometimes it's only in Japanese, so I use like an app to translate the spices. Even to find like detergent. I don't know what is this detergent for because there's no photo. I have to translate. So grocery was also a challenging thing. There are so many things to talk about. Finding products for my hair in Japan is completely, it's whew. I have to always order online and pay those shipping fees because, you know, there's not much to do when it comes to like black people's hair. Like hair care in Japan, there's not much products around. It's not very diverse in a sense. I've never been in a hair salon in Japan at all. I don't find any salon where I can confidently just go and let them take care of my hair, choose a hairstyle. So I do my hair by myself, which takes a lot of my time. And yeah, what again? Skin products, stuff like that. There are so many things. I can just go on and on and on for like an hour. Like, but I don't want to sound naggy about Japan.
Oh, it's alright, it's alright. Yeah, because it's interesting to know
Yeah.
your opinions.
Thank you.
Do you have any tips for foreigners who want to move to Japan?
First thing you do when you come to Japan, don't surround yourself with foreigners. Don't create a foreign bubble because it gets very comfortable and you don't get in touch with the actual culture, and it also slows your speed when it comes to learning the language. So your first tip is when you come here, whether it's for study, whether it's for work, whatever you want to do, if you want to stay here long term, step one, surround yourself with locals, much more than foreigners because it's too comfortable. And then learn Japanese. Start learning Japanese since day one, since day minus 100. Start learning Japanese because there are just so many things that are much more convenient in terms of social life, I would say. The codes, the friendliness, the proximity is just easier when you're able to speak the language, in my experience. So that will be my tip. And the other tip is don't be afraid to go on adventure. Don't be afraid to try new things, whether it's new food, new places to go. Discover as much as you can. Don't be comfortable in your office or in your classroom and say, okay, I came here for this, let me just do this, this is my objective. No, like open yourself to adventure, to new stuff, to new people. And yeah, just be out there. It's very, very helpful because you get to grow as a person and also be respectful of things, culture. It is very easy to say, oh, Japan do this, but in my country we do that, so I'll continue to do the way we do in my country. As you know the saying, when you're in Rome, like do as Romans. So in Japan, try to be as respectful as you can of the culture. People here have their own critical space that you cannot really cross. It will be smaller the longer you stay here, and don't be pushy with them when it comes to making them talk or expressing their feelings or doing this and that. They have their ways, and try to understand where everybody is coming from, and then it will be just easier for you, whether it's work, studies, dating. Just try to understand the other side. The other thing I would say is don't expect to be Japanese. It's harsh, probably, but it's very realistic. Many people come here, stay for 10 years, they speak the language, they marry Japanese, they have mixed Japanese kids, but they're still not looked at directly as part of the integral society. Don't put that in your head that, yeah, now it's my country, I'm Japanese, I can do na-na-ni-na-na-na. Legally, yes, you can be Japanese, but in their minds, you're still a foreigner. So you stay in that box of foreigner for probably your entire life, and it's okay. You get a lot of passes, you get a lot of you get a lot of gaijin cards. But yeah, just don't, I would say, to not be disappointed, don't expect that, even if you live 100 years, I think.
Oh, great. Yeah, great advice. Thank you, Yllah.
Thank you very much.
And you are doing Instagram and the YouTube channel.
Yes.
So please follow her.
Follow me, guys.
Hi, Mike.
What's up?
Yeah, good. Long time no see.
I know, right? It's been forever. You're enjoying Thailand, man. You're lucky.
What do you like about Japan?
Number one is safety. After I finished college in New York, I moved to the Bronx. So I moved to the South Bronx. I lived on 182nd and Walton Avenue, and it was wild to live there. Like, there was crackheads on the street, and I remember one night I was doing my laundry outside because we didn't have a machine,
and I was just walking to a laundromat. Someone threw boiling hot water from the window, and like just random stuff like that. But it was so cheap rent, and I didn't have any money. So I was a teacher, and then a flight attendant, and then I came to Japan. So when I came to Japan, it was night and day, man. It was just so. It was actually weird how quiet it was. I couldn't sleep my first week in Japan. It was so quiet. Now when I go to New York, I'm like, oh my God, it's so loud. Like I can't sleep. The safety, how clean it is. Like one of the things that people, fail to realize how dirty New York is. And I love New York. So for me, it's normal. But when you live there, you don't realize how dirty it is. And then you come, to Japan. And compared, Shibuya is nothing compared to 42nd Street, dirty-wise, right? Go to New York on a regular Wednesday, we throw garbage outside in the street the night before, So Japan was super clean. And also, people say that Tokyo is expensive. It's nothing compared to New York City.
That's right.
Average American makes, I think, is $36,000. And you can have a very good life for $36,000 in Japan. It's extremely affordable to live here, yeah. It's wild how affordable. So food is also different too. Like I noticed the quality of food in Japan compared to American food, yeah.
What do you think about Japanese people?
When I first came to Japan, I think it was like 15, 16 years ago when I just came to visit. Girls in the restaurant were so polite. I was like, oh, do they like me? I was like, do you want my phone number? Like, my friend's like, no, it's just, what? But she's so nice. Like, she's not nice like that to everybody. Because New York is like, some people are nice for the tip, but some people don't even care about a tip, right? They're just, if you're having a bad day, you're having a bad day. So in Japan, the service is top notch, like, it's so top notch that when you go to a restaurant and the restaurant has average service, you're like, this service is terrible. Why do I have to wait more than 1 minute for someone, right? Service is phenomenal here.
Living in Japan has influenced your personality.
Yeah, 100%, yeah. I would say like in Japan, I'm one of the most talkative people. But when I go to New York, I'm like, I notice how quiet I am. So like in Japan, I'm super loud. But when I go to America, I forget how loud everybody is. And like, we're okay with having an argument, right? So like, if you go somewhere, something happens and, someone says, no, dame, right? You just end of conversation, there's nothing, right? In America, it's like, no, you can't do that. Why? Why I can't, It's like, I'm like, yo, calm down. Like, no. It's like, man, I forget, like, Japan has changed me like that. Like, I'm very okay with someone saying no to me. Like, all right, let's go somewhere else or something like that. In America, like, why? Why I can't do this? Why? It's like everything is a battle, totally. So Japan has changed me. And like I said, I'm the loudest person here, but I'm quiet when I leave here. So.
Will you stay in Japan longer?
Yeah, forever. I always joke that I'm like, at 65, when I retire, I'm going to go to Thailand. But I don't know if I can after I'm 40 now, so I have another 25 years. I don't know if after 25 years, if I can live in another country, because Japan is so convenient, so clean, so quiet, babies you to the point where it's kind of crippling. When I was in New York, you always had to be vigilant, right? You don't leave your cell phone, you don't leave your wallet. You're always looking at people, like I hate to say, like, judging people, like, is this a good person, this a bad person, right? And then you live in Japan and you don't worry about any of that. You can put your phone there, your wallet there, right? You leave the car open, you don't even lock the doors a lot of places, right? I go back to my old neighborhood where it's normal, it's safe where I live, and I feel like, it just looks so dangerous, like, because so that's what I'm saying. Like, you go to the service, and New York services, people are rude. I don't know. It's just the way we are. New Yorkers are, and I'm like, man, these people are so mean. Why is everybody so mean? And it's not that. It's that they're normal. But I've been living in Japan so long that it has changed me.
Do you have any tips for someone who want to move to Japan?
So when I first came to Japan, I remember people saying to me, like, Japan is not going to change. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean? And then, like, living here, you see something and then you're like, in America, we do it this way. Or we do it this way where I'm from. And like, oh, why can't you do it this way? I think I've noticed a lot of people come to Japan and they try to change Japan. And they don't notice, like, Japan takes a long time to change. It changes, but a very slow pace. right? Like even during the pandemic, when the stuff happened, the pandemic, Japan was okay to acquire masks, but until the government says tomorrow's mask day. And I remember like hanging out with my friends, and then I like, why does everybody want to hang out? It's like, oh, tomorrow's mask day. You know, we can't hang out tomorrow. I'm like, what? Like tomorrow's still like, nah. And then, you know, and that caused change, right? But it took an extreme thing to cause Japan to change in that aspect, right? But like something like, I haven't seen it in a long time, but I know some places still do the fax machine thing, right? But like a big problem I remember was like banks wanted the hanko.
Yeah.
Like, bro, we can't go. Like, it's a pandemic. We're not allowed to. Like, they didn't even want to do digital signature, right? It caused like an extreme thing, and it happens to everywhere in Japan. Like, it just takes a long time for anything to change, but not in a bad way, right? But it's just like, in my opinion, a lot of people come and I'm gonna change this place and I'm gonna leave my mark in Japan and blah blah, and then Japan, the real Japan, just smacks them right in the face like, no, get in line. I think that's one of my major advices to people is like, come to Japan, relax. Just the stuff that worked in wherever country you're from is most likely not going to work here. So just go with the flow. It takes time, you know. And also Japanese people too, when I came here, they said Japanese people need time. I was like, what does that mean? They say they need time. And it was like, me as an American, we're very easy to become friends. Yeah. Oh, that's my friend. That's my friend. You're my friend, right? And in Japan, it was like, it's not like that. They need time with you, like real time with you, right? So you need to see them quite often, and then they start, you know, there's plenty of people that I've known for 6, 7, 8 years. I've never been to their house. They don't even let me inside their house. Oh. Never, you know, or introduce their parents to you, or like, you know, Japan separates things, yeah, right? And it's not a personal thing, it's just a cultural thing, and you have to get used to that.
Yeah, that's true. Actually,
right?
It takes time.
It takes time, you just need time.
Yeah.
Not in a negative way, it just, you know, it's just a way.
Mike, you are doing YouTube and Instagram, TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok, yeah. YouTube, Instagram, yeah.
Please follow him.
Take it easy, guys.
All right, see you next time. Bye.